Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a review of Hasbro Marvel Legends Retro Collection, the Invincible Iron Man. And I reviewed a few of these retro figures, which I don't have a whole lot of, and I got a few because one, they're on sale, and two, some of these are like, reminds me a lot of the figures I played with as a kid growing up, like the Secret Wars Iron Man, which is very similar to this. This is my favorite Iron Man suit. Probably because of my childhood. This is what he was kind of wearing in the 80s, I think. And it's just when I think of Iron Man, I think of this suit. So to have a figure that is a retro look of that is super cool. And even though it's made by Hasbro, it has the Kenner logo, much like the Star Wars figures had back in the 80s down there. Marvel Legends, it has a cool metal, sheeting background for Iron Man. I think the packaging on these retro figures is fantastic. 3 3/4 inch figures, 3.75 inches. But the artwork is great. The packaging is really cool, and I almost don't want to open them, but I open my toys now. Years ago, I didn't. I was collecting to try and make money. Now I collect to have fun, and that to me is what it's all about. So I'll open them. I'll take pictures. I'm doing this review, for example. But as you can see here, it's ages 4 and up, and he does come with a warning here in this paperwork. It talks about small parts hazard for ages 3 and under. So even though there's no accessories, be careful with ones 3 years and younger around this for choking hazard. And on the back, they all come with these cool little cutout card. If I was a kid, I would cut these things out and collect them and feel super happy about it. But he has a little write-up too, and it says, "A genius mind and suit of armor makes Tony Stark a real charmer, stopping villains where they land as the invincible Iron Man." So it's very Stan Lee-ish. I don't know if those were Stan Lee's words, but everything about this screams retro, which is cool. And there's the UPC, and this figure has a date of 2021 from Hasbro. So it's been around for a while, these retro figures, and some of them are sold out, some are not, which I just gotten these in the past couple weeks. So some of these are probably still available. What I'm going to do is get this guy cut out. I'm going to preserve this card back as best as possible. I'm going to take a X-Acto blade very carefully and cut along the bubble on the bottom, along the side, and along the top. That way I can just release the figure that way and keep the card back intact. So far I've had success doing it with the other ones I've reviewed, Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. So I'm going to take my time, do that, and then we'll look at the figure in a closer detail. Okay, as you can see, I cut this along the card edge. I did a little mark right there, and right down here a little bit, but overall it looks pretty good. So you can keep this packaging intact as much as possible by using that X-Acto blade very carefully along the edge of this plastic bubble. But here is the figure out of package, and it's that retro Iron Man look, which I absolutely love. If we go in a little closer, get some detail. The paintwork on these figures is not perfect by any means. As you can see, there's some bleeding up here by the crown of the head, the forehead, but overall, it looks pretty good. The Unibeam is bright yellow. The paint there is good. I don't think it's a sticker. I think that is paint. And then the yellow and the red pop so good. It looks really good. There's the boots. And going over articulation, these aren't technically 5 points. This is a 7 points figure, and I'll show you why. So the head obviously swivels. And then the arms will move like most, rotate like most 5 3/4, and the leg is the same thing. So you can get Iron Man to sit down if you want. But where you get 7 points is the wrist gauntlets. So as you can see here, this rotates. Both wrists rotate at the gauntlet. So it kind of gives you kind of a better look. So he kind of has an arc blast going on right here. You can kind of get that out like he's, you can turn your hand if you want for that. And if we look close, you can see a reactor. If I can, yeah, right there, you can see the arc reactor in his palm. It's not painted, but it is there. So that's pretty cool they did that. And the bottom, you do have holes. So if you want to get yourself a round base for the, these vintage style figures, you can get a round base if you want to display him so he doesn't fall on your shelf. I mean, overall, he stands pretty good. He stands pretty good. But, walking around, they might wobble and tumble. So Not much more to say, other than the fact that I'm glad I have them. I'm going to do a comparison now to my original Secret Wars Mattel Iron Man, and we'll take a look at that. All right, and here on the left is the Mattel Secret Wars figure I had from my childhood. I've talked about him on a few of my videos, but that was the very first Marvel figure I ever remember getting with my mom at Kmart. I'll never forget the day getting him. I was probably 6 or 7 when he came out in 1984, I believe. As you can tell, they're not 3 3/4. I think these were 4.5 inch tall, I believe. But as you can see, the retro is 3 3/4, like a Star Wars figure was. But man, side by side, it's kind of hard to tell, but this red is definitely more muted than this red. This is more of like a cherry or an apple red, candy apple red. This is more of a muted color. It looks brighter in the camera than it really is. But yeah, I mean, you can tell mine's been played with. It's all beat up. But overall, I think it's pretty cool that I have both of these Iron Man figures. And I do have the Hono Studios one coming whenever that releases from Hot Toys. So it'll be cool to display kind of those together. And I do have the Hot Toys one from a couple years ago. Maybe one day I'll do an Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man review and have all my Invincible Iron Man figures out at one time. But let's go ahead and put him now with the rest of the vintage figures or retro figures that I have. All right, and here's my complete set of, well, what I have, I should say, of the retro figures that have come out. I have one more to review, Wolverine, and then that's all I got. I won't be getting any more. I got ones that really, hit home in my childhood, or I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. So seeing these together in their classic uniforms, I think is just a cool thing. To me, nothing beats, classic comic book look. I know people love the movies and stuff, but I much prefer having figures that look comic accurate to ones that have been licensed, for a movie property, personally. But anyways, yeah, pretty cool. So let's just talk about real quick if this guy's worth it, how much he was. Okay, so I got him from Big Bad Toy Store. And when I got him, he was on sale. He still is, as of the recording of this, end of April 2024. I got him for $6.99. He's normally $11.99, I believe. So discounted quite a bit. I mean, for me, for $7, this figure is totally worth it. Now, I'll say that these retro Marvel figures don't come with any accessories. Unlike Star Wars figures, when I was a kid playing with Star Wars, everyone came with something, either a blaster or a lightsaber, whatever, you name it. Cloud Car Pilot had a comlink, but they came with something. These don't come with anything, which is a bit disappointing. It'd be cool if they had a changeable fist or something. But that's why I think they're probably still available. They probably didn't sell well because, they didn't really come with much. But for me, for $7 for this guy, I combined shipping with other stuff, it wasn't too much. I am completely happy having a retro look Invincible Iron Man in my collection, a little guy like this. So let me know what you guys think. Did you guys get any of these, retro Marvel figures from Hasbro? What do you think of the quality or the price? Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Until next time, this has been Hasbro Marvel Legends Retro Collection, The Invincible Iron Man. Thanks for watching.